morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the Roundtable this morning. I have to apologize there. We started a bit late, but that's because we had technical issues we had to resolve. But we would do well to have all the conversations we are supposed to within the allotted time. My name is Joy Ladimini Asaye. Today we'll be talking about tax evasion, tax avoidance, and forensics. How can we deploy forensics to ensure that we do not have so many infractions of tax evasions or avoidance? I'm going to be discussing all of this with Dr. Stacy Mwodo. She's a regular analyst on this platform. We discuss forensics a lot when she's around. She's the country director of the International Institute of Certified Forensic Investigation Professionals of the United States. Thank you again for coming, Dr. Stacy.
Good morning, viewers.
Yes, I had to introduce the woman in the studio first. We also have Dr. Adamu Mohammed Kudu. Thank you for coming, sir.
Good morning, viewers.
Doctor is the Director, Micro and Small Taxpayers Department of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Thank you again for coming, Doctor.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Doctor, I'll just go to you. You know, as a Director of Micro and Small Taxpayers Department, it must be a very interesting job, considering that your department is largely unregulated. A lot of players in that sector are not formalized. We see that they don't even have the formal registration. So, how has it been ensuring that you're able to get taxes from this informal sector?
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers and listeners. Micro and Small Taxpayer Department of FIRS is the beginning of all process of compliance. When I talk of compliance, I mean you comply as a taxpayer in terms of registration, you comply as taxpayer in terms of filing, in terms of payment, and in terms of other duty under the tax laws. The Micro and Small Taxpayers Department, just as the name connotes, the taxpayers in that segment are largely informal. And that's why it's a department where taxpayers are grown from being a small taxpayer to big taxpayers.
Okay.
When we grow them to become medium taxpayers, we migrate them to medium tax departments.
Right.
When we grow them to become large taxpayers, we migrate them to a large taxpayer department. It's a department where you bring in taxpayer for the first time into TaxNet. These days, we have interfaces with Corporate Affairs Commission where taxpayers just come in, register as CAC.
Voluntarily?
Voluntarily.
Wow.
Yes, they want to do business. And part of the requirement is tax clearance certificate. You must be tax compliant before you get contract in Nigeria. So by the time they satisfy the regulatory framework of going to Corporate Affairs Commission to register, they get incorporated or registered with business names. There and then, the data flows into our system. We now generate taxpayers' identification number.
Right.
And that is the beginning of bringing in taxpayers into TaxNet. When they are there, the next thing is to enroll them properly. We take all their demographic and tax information and key them into the system. There and then, we allow them to go to their comfort zone to complete other compliance process.
Wow.
In the compliance process, some of them that are largely manual, we help them. We guide them just like they use their phone. We tell them that as simple as your phone, the same thing. It is to comply with tax provisions online. And then we teach them how to give access to whoever that's supposed in the filing and payment.
Right.
We teach them how they will go and do filing by themselves. We teach them how to validate, how to upload documents, how to complete our declaration forms online. And by the time we taught them this for the first time, they will go and even do it better.
So everything has gone digital, basically?
Everything in FIRS have gone digital.
Right.
In every compliance process, especially those that are public-facing. When I talk of public-facing, I mean those compliance processes that are the purview of taxpayers that we don't want them to come to tax office. They can only come to tax office when they have requests, when they have inquiry, or when they have queries. But every other compliance process, they are electronically driven. Taxpayers' comfort is our
Okay, so let's talk about the digital forensics. Just give us, Dr. Modo, just give us like an overview as to what digital forensics is. I mean, the tax system, as tax system has gone digital, it's time we apply the forensics in ensuring that it works well. So give us an overview.
Thank you very much. I think this morning it's good enough to hear that tax has gone very digital in FIRS. Digital forensics is the identification and the analysis of digital evidence. So it's also very good, and it's going to be a very good one to investigate tax using digital forensics. And then this evidence are such that will be tenable in the law court.
Right.
So it's the investigation of digital evidence. And of course, you know what digital artifacts entails. These are electronics, but objects. It could be computer, anything that has to do with electronics. It could be your mobile phone. It could be anything that has to, that takes the part of electronic information. So the way you investigate such must be through the right process.
Right.
And the right process, of course, we have for you to investigate a particular digital object. You have to, first of all, identify the object. You collect the object. You preserve the object, because it's very important. Preservation of the object is very important, because if such object is found to be tampered with, your evidence will not be valid anymore. So it's preserved, then you analyze such, then you document, and then you present, which is the report. And this process must be followed. And then I would like to say that it's also not it's not also going to be proper for any judge in the law court to prosecute a person or anything without getting a second validated opinion.
Right.
Okay? So you cannot just, one forensic expert cannot just investigate a case that has to do with digital objects.
Okay.
And then you find out that
let's just understand something. When you say one forensic expert, do you mean a forensic expert in a certain field cannot dabble into another field?
No, no, you can dabble into it. But what I mean is that validation process must take place too.
Right.
Because, of course, when you have two people coming out with same results, you can never fault forensic results, because it must have gone through a process, and then there will be second validation process.
If it is indeed that that clear, I mean, it's a scientific method that is deployed in getting to that result. Why do we need a validation?
That's why it's forensic.
Right.
It can be done by just one person.
Okay.
Because you want to make sure you get verifiable evidence.
Right.
You don't want to make mistakes.
Okay, let me get to Dr. Kudu. Are there infractions? Do you see people within the micro and small enterprises trying to evade taxes? Is it even possible?
Yes, they do at that level, because it's the level of unorganized taxpayers. And at that level, anything can happen.
True.
They are largely manual, and once anything is manual, infractions cannot be avoided. So these days, the experience has shown that taxpayers become evasive if they are not well informed. And that's why whatever we do, we publish what we do. If you go to our website, you see what we do, how we do them, and even those that are time-bound. So taxpayers don't have to make any mistake. But being largely manual environment, what we do most is to educate them and tell them the consequences of non-compliance, consequences of evasion, consequences of avoidance. And from there, some of them tend to ask more questions than to make mistake.
Right.
So it's a level where You need to do more to make them understand why they should comply. You need to do more to support them in terms of compliance. And you also need to comfort them by bringing the compliance to their comfort zone so that they don't need to move out of their comfort zone before they now file their returns, pay their taxes, or even collect tax certificate. So these are things we have done with them. But for the evasion issue, yes, at that level, some of them don't know some acts that constitute evasion.
Wow.
But at the up level of large taxpayers and medium taxpayers, they know what constitutes evasion. I know evasion is criminal. Avoidance is what is tolerable to a certain limit. So what we do is to put it black and white. Don't do this, don't do this. File your return as at window. Your return should comprise of A, B, C. And this is the due date for filing the return. After your return, there are post-return review. This is how you comply with them. You don't run foul of the law. And whoever you are introducing to comply on your behalf, the person should be duly authorized.
Right.
His detail must be duly uploaded into the system. And so that tomorrow, when we come into law court, we cannot take responsibility for your inactions or when you misinform the tax environment. So always we tell taxpayers do's and don'ts because tax is driven by law and that law must be obeyed to the latter. So if a taxpayer is the vulnerable, then it's your responsibility to make sure they know what to do.
Okay, so let me marry these two concepts, the concept of digital forensics and the concept of taxes. How can we deploy digital forensics in a situation of tax evasion?
Well, like I said before, when I started, that I'm elated that my doctor here just told us that the FIRS has gone digital. It simply means that we are halfway into the solution because it's simple to actually investigate such. We are talking about electronics evidence, artifacts, electronic artifacts. And so it's very easy when you follow this process, the process that I laid down, which is the identification process, the collection process, the preservation, and all that. It's easy to investigate tax using electronic media because, of course, don't forget that we use scientific means. Forensic is using forensic means. So you have three stages. Forensic, the evidence itself, and the law. So you find out that these taxpayers, it's not going to be an easy one to evade tax anymore. It's much easier to evade tax when it is manual.
Right.
But with this era of digital forensics and FIRS having adopted that digitalization, it's going to be a lot easier to collect the taxpayers, know those who are not paying. Of course, they have their records because Dr. here just told us that they teach people and they educate them on how to even register online and all that. And of course, I said before, there are different aspects of forensics. You know, that has to also do with their database forensics. Do you understand? So it means that they are going to be investigating the information in their database to know those who are evading tax and those who are paying. So it's a lot easier now having deployed digital forensics into it. So I think FIRS, I think I want to give kudos to them for digitalizing their services.
Yes. So, Dr. Kudu, there's a report that Nigeria loses as much as 10 billion naira annually to tax-related corruption. Now, have we started deploying forensics in ensuring that those infractions, the court, all the government institutions that need this information have it, and the courts know what to do when you bring this to their offices? Have you played?
One thing that's is certain is statistics, sometimes they are just a guide. The 10 billion, I don't want to say is yes or no, it can be more. Wow. However, in tax environment, we have what we call various interfaces to various regulatory authorities database, various financiers database, including other impacted stakeholders database. We did those interfaces just because we want to validate some reports. Taxpayers submit this report, and we don't know the veracity of that report, whether it is correct or not. So we use third-party database to do that verification, to confirm the veracity of what taxpayers submitted. By the time it is confirmed, we let go. By the time we see taxpayer understating income, you have reported your income, we now got a third-party information that there are other sources of income you have not reported. What we do is to bring it to your notice and subject that unreported income to tax direct. In the process, you may lose some of your benefits, because for every income, there must be expenses attributable to it. By the time you refuse to report that income, we'll just tax the income.
Right.
If you had at initial ab initio reported the income, you'll have enjoyed knocking up the expenses associated to that income before you arrive at the tax payable. So everything about evasion or tax erosion, we are curbing them. There are taxes we collect as source. If you go to retail shops to buy something, VAT is taken immediately.
Exactly.
If you transfer money to somebody above 10,000, 15 naira is deducted at once and remitted to the tax environment. We call it electronic money transfer. If you go and obtain contract, instead of you to go with the tax element, including the income, that income may not even be reported by you. What we do is to take the withholding tax at source as advance payment of tax. So when you later file return, you have benefit of using it against the tax liability being established against you. So the era of revenue erosion is going down gradually because everything is digitalized. And in the digitalization, we follow what we call MOU to relevant authorities. We are pulling this data from you just because we want to ensure that taxpayers pay the correct tax.
Tax, okay.
And then when we get that information, we use it for that purpose. In fact, we use it to tell the taxpayer that the auditor that's preparing your account is not doing you any favor, is allowing some incomes to escape. If you are the one advising such, or if you are the one that's not declaring all, don't do that again, because tax law will always catch up with you. So area of our understatement of income is almost going, because we have interfaces to various sources of taxpayers' income. We brought the multinationals into TaxNet, and most of these are small taxpayers hook into all those multinationals. And by the time they report you that you have earned this income from them, and you are now leaving that income outside your declaration, we catch you. So the era of taxes being eroded is almost going through the digitization that we have embarked upon.
Okay.
And I believe very soon tax evasion will be brought down to the minimal level.
Okay. Dr. Wodu, do our law enforcement agencies, do the courts, are they aware of the potentials of forensics, basically, not just digital forensics now for taxes, for the auditing, and are they aware when these infractions come to them?
Well, forensic, as it were, is fast gaining momentum in Nigeria. And for those law enforcement agencies that collaborate with foreign communities, they are able to, they have the capacity. I can tell you with all sense of humility that they have the capacity to, to handle these issues. But what I discovered that is missing is that part, the practical part, and then how the framework that can be used to know what these people do, with respect to their cross-examinations and process that has been used to, to undertake these investigations. But I think the law enforcement agencies, especially those ones that collaborate with the foreign bodies, like I said before, are doing very well in this regard. And so they are giving their best to see that when we talk about issues of investigation, even with tax evasions and all that, when these cases come to them, they know the best approach to use to handle these things.
Okay, so Dr. Kudu, you know, there's a saying that if you don't tell them, you can't blame them. And you have already mentioned that within the micro and small medium sector, there's the awareness problem. So what are you doing to ensure that they are more aware? Because if you ask an average Nigerian why he should pay tax, I'm sure when we open phone lines, we will get to hear what their opinions are concerning tax. There's a stereotype to paying tax. Are they even aware of the benefits of it?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, micro and small taxpayers, they are the segment that are hard to blend, but we're doing our best. One thing we need to note is that taxpayers' compliance is driven by what level of change management, what level of awareness, what level of carried along you had with them. And we are doing all this almost every day. We have our tax matters, we have tax radios, we have tax 101 women radio. All those things, all those medium are used to educate taxpayer and also update taxpayers on what we are doing. We just signed the practice directory to tell the taxpayer that, look, if you don't pay, we'll take you to court. And we take you to court. The first thing is to pay 50% of that liability to the court. Then we'll now go through the process of resolving the case through the court. In this process, even the forensics will come in, because everything is driven by record. When taxpayer is aggrieved, you must produce all the records for it to be resolved logically through the court process. So we don't just impose something on taxpayer, but rather we tell them that this is how we do it, and this is how we want you to comply. By the time they are duly informed, then we now watch out those who will not comply, and then we manage them. When I say we manage non-compliant, we mean we look for where lies their problem, and we fix it. Some of them will tell us that, I cannot upload anything in your document because the space you provided is too small. We expand it. That we don't just deploy any solution for them to comply with. We carry them along in the requirement gathering process, in the development process, and we even allow them to do the script for testing what we are deploying, giving them to use. And by the time we do the UAT together, they now know where we are going. Right. And since they have been carried along from beginning, they don't have cause to say we are not part of it, and we are backing out. All that is left from our mind, which is beyond our power, is to say this is how the tax proceeds are used. We do have control over that. But anywhere you go, you see pipe-borne water running. You see good road. You see good health facilities. They are all tax proceeds. So taxpayers should pay. Okay.
How has forensics in this sector, because like I said, it's a very interesting sector. But before going to forensics, I would like to know, can you generate a team for a small business without having that formalization? Because Nigeria is still talking about businesses getting registered. Can you generate a team for such a person? That's the tax payer identification number for that person, for that business, without the CAC?
The Nigeria law based on CAMA, Companies and Allied Matters Act. You must pass through CAC, get registered as a company who is coming to do something in the country. So by the time you have done that angle, the next thing is to register with the tax office. There are some climates that is from tax office you start. But in Nigeria, you start with Companies and Allied Matters Act, which the Company and Corporate Affairs Commission administer. So you go to CAC, you go online. Within 2 hours, you are done with CAC online. You have submitted your documents, and then the next thing is to wait for the registration certificate. And based on ease of doing business, 8 hours, you get the certificate. At your comfort zone, you'll get the certificate. And based on the integration we did with CAC, as you are getting the certificate, you will see taxpayer's identification number on it.
Wow, immediately?
Immediately. You don't need to go to tax office and suffer again. All you need to do is, you have got your taxpayer identification number, then locate where your tax office should be. And it's normally driven by address, the address you put there. So at that level, you now have option of saying, okay, I want to be digitally compliant, or I want to continue with manual process. For small and medium taxpayer department, you can go that route, but once you are medium and large taxpayers, you must be digital compliant. So you, from your own comfort zone, you can log on to the site, Tax Pro Max, you go to e-services and then complete all the data there. From there, you will have access to even say, I want to nominate a proxy who will be doing my filing for me, who will be processing my tax returns for me, including receipt. So you identify all those things, it will flow into the system. Those proxies will receive email instantly, and then the email will tell them what to do. And at the end of the day, those proxies will be able to interact with the tax system for you based on the right you granted them. So at the end of the day, everybody that wishes to be tax compliant electronically will be tax compliant electronically. In fact, going by the current management, we should be done by next year. Everybody should be digital compliant.
Wow.
The good side of it is that the more you go digital, the more the burden is less for tax administrators. And the more you go manual, the more headache you put on tax administrators. And it's also disadvantageous to you because if you request for tax grant certificate, before they gather all these manual papers, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to 14 days, the person who apply online will have gotten it 2 hours. So it is advantageous for taxpayers to go digital, comply with tax provisions through the online platform that have been provided, as against going manual. If you go manual, you'll be left out of business. You'll be kicked out of business.
Because of the long
Because
process.
the era is purely IT driven,
Right.
and you must belong. Otherwise, you get kicked out of business.
Okay, so we'll go on a very short break right now. When we return, Dr. Stacy, you will tell us how Nigeria can leverage on forensic science to get better. And Dr. Kudu, you would also tell us how Nigerians can get just join the tax and pay their taxes and all of that. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. It's good to know you're still with us as we are discussing tax, crimes, and forensic science. Well, Dr. Stacy, just tell us how Nigeria can leverage on this emerging concept and do more in terms of forensic science.
Thank you very much. For any country that wants to grow, I think it's time to go digital. Digital is the way forward. Because with digital, you are able to do a whole lot of things with speed. And of course, when you go digital, technology brings about productivity. So for a country that needs to grow, that country just has to adopt and embrace digitalization. Right. If you want to borrow leads from other countries that you see that are developed today, that are growing today, even in business, you find out that those countries are doing very well in the area of technology. So technology, digital is the way to go for a country to grow. And we talked about tax. I'm really happy that FIRS has gained ground in this regard, and they are doing very well. And that's the only way to curb this tax evasion, because over time, during the era of manual, I want to say during the era, because I'm glad that they've gone digital. During the era of manual tax paying, you find out that a lot of people look for ways to evade tax. In fact, they even go as far as using the loopholes in the law, to evade tax. People do not like to pay tax. The truth of the matter is that human beings by nature do not like to do the right thing.
Really.
And it's global, you understand? Yes. So when you put a mechanism in place that would drive them to doing the right thing, you find out that it's easy for both the administrator and those paying. You find out everybody's forced to do what they have to do.
Okay, let me
So Nigeria will grow better if they embrace digitalization in every aspect of their activities.
The numbers to call is 09057408127. That is 09057408127. Remember, when you call, move away from your radio or TV set, or just turn it down so we can have a proper conversation. Dr. Kudu, she has mentioned how people just figure out ways to evade taxes. Now, why do we still see globally people, corporate fraud is still something government around the world is trying to fight, even though they know that you would always get to them? Why do we see that?
There's this idea that everybody is a thief, except the one that is being caught. Some used to take that risk to still do what they believe in. You know, some people, no matter what, they'll still commit the crime. Tax evasion is a crime. It's a criminal offense, and it can be charged to court. What the taxpayer should know now is that when they evade tax, we'll catch them, because it takes two to tango. Your income is not from you, it's from somewhere. And that somewhere will report you, because that somewhere is digitized. Every information is flowing online to our tax system. So we expect that in the few months to come, taxpayer will have nowhere to hide and nowhere to run, but to comply.
Okay, doctor, we have a caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, are you there? Good morning. Okay, we lost that connection. 09057408127. Hello, good morning. Okay, I'm not sure there's still someone at the end of that line. Please do well to call us back. We'd like to hear what you have to say. But Dr. Kudu, we used to see in the news, international celebrities are often arrested and jailed sometimes for tax evasion. We've never seen that here. Is it that our entertainers here are very compliant? Before you answer that, let's pick this call. Hello, good morning. I'm not sure what's wrong with our connection today. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. My name is Mohammed Ali Baba. I'm calling from Jabi.
Thank you so much, Mohammed Ali Baba. Go ahead.
Yeah, my answer to the analysis there, please. You said the FIRS has gone digital. That's a good news for the country. I just want to inquire from him. Some of the unscrupulous staff there who used to defraud the government, how does this digitalization curb the situation? Thank you.
No, Ali Baba, can I get your question right? You have evidence of dubious staff? Okay, I think we lost that. I would have loved to know what he meant.
Yes, I think what he's saying in a sense is that if we go digital, how are these dubious taxpayers going away with money? One thing you need to note is that there are some level of taxes that you cannot do escape today. When you do contract to government, at GIFMIS level, that is Government Integrated Financial Management Information System, the VAT and withholding tax will be automatically deducted.
Right.
What is coming to you is net. So whether you run away with that income or not, we have taken our tax.
Exactly.
But it will do you good coming to file and declare that income. Because you still have that particular withholding tax as advance payment of tax. When liability is established against you, you can knock it off against that. The only damage you might have done is that income might be subject to education tax. I mean the TET fund.
Yes.
The amount we collect to help the tertiary institution to run their business.
That's about 3%?
2% of accessible profit. So you might have denied government of that money. But the main tax, which is the income tax, you might have suffered this particular withholding tax. So the era of saying going away with money Yes,
It's
they might have
local.
escaped with some money, but we have taken part of the tax in advance, and that is the withholding tax.
Okay.
So it's not everybody that succeed in going away with money. Those that succeed in going away with money are those that trade with multinationals, and even most of the multinationals are law-abiding. They will deduct the tax at source and remit to us. And when you refuse to declare, the flow of data from them to our system will expose you. And that's why under our compliance management research program, we normally bring taxpayers out from where they are hiding to TaxNet.
Right.
And some of them, it used to be painful. Because the income we are bringing on board are incomes that they have generated, they have taken profit away, they have appropriated the profit, and we're now saying we have caught you.
True.
You are being reported by a third party. So now go and face the wrath of the law. So what he's saying, yes, some are running away, but not for all the tax types. When you do any contract now with government, under GIVMIS, your tax will be taken as source, awaiting for when you declare for you to utilize it.
Okay, please just quickly answer the question earlier, the recalcitrant. Okay, we have a caller. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Name and location, please.
Yeah, I'm from Jadi calling.
I didn't get that.
I'm Ahmed from Jadi.
I didn't get your surname either, so we would like
Ahmed.
to have an identity. Ahmed, what?
Ahmed
Jadi.
Ibrahim.
Ahmed Ibrahim, please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to confirm if my tax is being deducted from source when I have a job with the government. How do I come to your office to consolidate if I want my tax there back?
Can you kindly ask that question again?
Hello?
Can you kindly ask that question again?
Oh, I can't get it. Come again,
Okay,
please.
let me take it through. You say if your tax is deducted as source,
Okay.
how do you come back to enjoy that tax? He has the obligation of declaring that income as part of his income. And by the time the income globally is declared, the tax office will sit and use the law to assess the taxpayer to TaxNet. And in the process of raising the assessment, every other factors are taken into consideration. When the tax payable is now arrived at, the taxpayer will now enjoy the withholding tax that is being deducted as source, because it's an advance payment of our income tax. So you have opportunity of removing that withholding tax from the actual tax liability payable. At the end of the day, you now have the net tax payable.
Okay. Please hold your thoughts. We have yet another caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Bukar Shua.
Lucas, what?
Bukar Shua.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to solicit the Federal Board of Lebanon. Instead of doing the fact is that we don't have the database for the companies we have in Nigeria. They don't.
Okay.
So they should be positive in their campaign so that they bring in the companies that are operating in Nigeria on their database. It's going to be easier. And all over the world, people are being encouraged and they are being lured to come and pay their tax obligations. But when our tax authorities are being covered with punishment and tax, we will find it difficult to achieve a tax-free Nigeria. So I will solicit them to be positive in their campaign and then lure the companies to come and pay. Then the other aspect is, I believe they are the controlling body of tax in Nigeria. So the complaint everywhere is multiple taxation, from local government to state government and the federal authority. So they should educate people on taxes to pay, when to pay, and where to pay. This is a very great leakage in the country. If we want to achieve our tax authorities getting the tax, I think this is another way of doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So he had mentioned too, but you
Yeah.
can just start with the multiple taxation he mentioned.
Lajibuka, thank you very much. One thing I need to let you know is that the companies we administer, they are registered under Corporate Affairs Commission. And we have all they have registered in our database. What is left is, are they active or not? There are some civil servants that we incorporate 10 companies are waiting for when they will be out of the service, they will now start using. There are some that their brothers will become governor of a state today, and they will rush to incorporate 20 companies and use all of them to bid.
Contracts.
These companies, 70% of them will remain dormant. And some, even if they are active, the moment their brother leaves the power, they will become dormant again. So it's not true that we don't have the companies in Nigeria. We have. What matters most is these companies, are they dormant or live? The other side, yes, multiplicity of taxes is a problem in Nigeria because of the 3 tiers of government we run. However, the Joint Tax Board is doing everything possible to harmonize. And by the time they are successful, the burden will be less. One thing you need to note is that taxation is based on certain parameters.
Right.
And these parameters are driven by each tier of government. Taking, for instance, there are taxes that are based on income. There are taxes that are based on expenses.
Expenses, right.
VAT based on expenses, you cannot say it's multiple taxation. Income tax is based on income and until you make profit. Otherwise, you will not pay. And then the tertiary education fund is also on profit. So the incidence of these taxes are on different bases. And that is why when you are charged to NITDL is because you belong to that industry.
Right.
When you are charged to companies on income tax is because you make profit. Or even when you don't make profit, you are under minimum tax to pay. When you are charged to PAYE is because you employ workers that have income that are above the threshold and they have to pay. So the whole thing about multiple taxation is just because there are some things that are not under the control of one umbrella until all the umbrellas come. You cannot escape paying some woodlums from Lagos to Abuja when you are bringing in goods. And that company might have paid company's income tax and other taxes. But those ones from local government, super tax are very low. So those ones, there's a committee working on it. And I believe by the time they are done, with the Joint Tax Board, headed by Executive Chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mohammed Nami, the harmonization will take effect.
Okay.
I don't know when, but we are all concerned about the multiplicity of taxes and very soon this position will be found.
That's fantastic to know that it's brewing to have that out of the way, because a lot of Nigerians have complained. If you have to leave us with your last statement, Dr. Stacey, what would it be concerning how Nigerians should start embracing the forensic science?
Okay, thank you very much. I really am glad this morning hearing so much expositions from the tax authority itself. Like I said before, the field of forensic with respect to digital is the way to go for them. And then, for you asked him the other time how these frauds can be prevented. Science itself, forensic itself, is reactive in nature. It just deals with what has happened, how it happened, and who is involved.
Right.
And so I think it's important that we begin to take the approach of preventive measure, being proactive, by trying to put safeguards with which we need to, prevent this tax evasion and fraudulent practices with respect to tax.
Okay. Yeah,
forensic is the way to go to investigate this.
I will have to stop you.
Okay.
But we can also have just a last statement as to how Nigerians should get compliant in tax paying.
Thank you very much. One thing we need to know is that the whole world is going digital. And that is why digital forensic is very important. The guiding principle of forensic is communication. Once there's element of communication in whatever you do, be rest assured that you cannot escape tax.
Okay.
And when you are charged to court, that communication is part of what will be used by the digital forensic experts to provide evidence against you.
Yes.
Okay.
So we should be proactive. We shouldn't allow ourselves to fall into the rut of the law. We should remain in business by being digital.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We've been discussing tax and forensic science with Dr. Stacey Wodo, the country director of International Institute of Certified Forensic Investigation and Professionals. We've also been discussing with Dr. Adamu Muhammad Kudu, Director of Micro and Small Taxpayers Department of the FIRS. Thank you so much for staying with us. Until tomorrow when the roundtable continues, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you, viewers.